spoken to so many women who have faced seemingly insurmountable challenges in their personal life, in their career, and in their business. But two things stood out. One, they came out on top. And two, they did it while they were afraid. And guess what? They are not an exclusive. They are all around you. My job through the Spotlight series is to bring the stories of these women closer to you.
I don't worry about stuff. Yeah, I just let it go. I pray, I write it in my journal, and I just continue with my day. And I just put it in God's hands. I don't worry. I've never been a worrier, but now more so, I even make sure I don't worry. I only control the things I can control. And then I move on.
Dr. Iyabo Ojikutu has been a pediatrician for the past 25 years. She has dedicated her medical career to caring for children and to teaching medical students. Having our own private practice for the past 14 years has been rewarding, as she serves an underprivileged area that has a lot of refugees. In December 2015, at the age of 45, 2 months after her father passed, she was suddenly inspired to start writing and completed her first book in February 2016. She discovered the beauty and peace that writing brought and has not stopped since, as she is currently writing her third book. A mother to two beautiful daughters, Dr. Iyabo is continuing her journey for permanent happiness. Enjoy the rest of our interview. Welcome to another episode of the Spotlight series, Women Doing Afraid, where we put the spotlight on women, such as my amazing guest in the house today. Just with one tagline: if they can, if she can, you can as well. And I have a beautiful, you can see her for yourself. Woman in the house.
So thank you so much, Stella, for making out the time.
You're welcome.
And giving me the honor to sit down here with you today in my home. And thank you for driving all the way to my private town. Thank you so much.
I want to go into details. Have you always known you wanted to be a pediatrician? Will you say that's your life purpose?
I believe so. I believe that's one of my life purposes, because I feel there's many that I have, but I feel that's like the basis of what God wanted me to do from when I became an adult. But I always knew I wanted to be a doctor because I was really good with the science subjects. Okay. And in Nigeria, once you're passing biology, you're a doctor. So do you want to be a doctor? So they would hint all the time. Yeah. And then I had an uncle who was a really famous neurosurgeon at the time. So they made me meet him, and he encouraged me. So that was how I became a doctor. But the pediatrician part of it, in Nigeria, there's so many sick kids, so many kids living in poverty, so much happening that we really couldn't control as students. Kids coming in very sick from preventable diseases, right, from just not having money, not having the knowledge to know how to prevent illnesses. Right. So that really inspired me then in medical school, seeing all those kids with all those illnesses, that wow, if I could be a part of this, I could really contribute.
Change it, right?
Yes.
And then you say you're also an author. What age did you start writing?
I started writing in 2015, so I was 45.
45? Yes. So you're not 15 or not?
No. Wow. So there's many gifts we're born with. I believe most of us are born with more than one gift, and it shows up at different parts of our lives. So we just have to be open to recognize it.
I agree. I absolutely agree with that, because I feel like most of the time we feel if we don't start a gift early, it means that the gift is dead.
And it's not. That's so false. Because I started writing at 45, and that's like a whole brand new venture for me now. It's really exciting.
And how did you feel? How do you feel going into this venture?
It came upon me like a miracle. So every time people ask me that question, it's hard for me to answer it, because I feel it dropped from above. I honestly feel that, because I've been journaling all my life, but then writing a book is something I never dreamt of. It was a different level. Something urged me from inside. It's like I heard a voice that day in December 2015, and I just started typing. I listened to the voice and I started typing just memories of my dad, how I felt. He made me really happy, how he was involved in my life as a child, and that just one chapter led to the other. And I was done. And here's the book in 2 months. And then at the end of that one, I was inspired to write another one behind it. So I wrote 2 books in a period of 5 months.
Wow.
Wow. So it was just something and some kind of inspiration, and that's why I feel it's such a great calling for me because of the way it happened. I didn't plan it. I didn't do any research. It just came from somewhere, just some inspiration.
And so your dad was the inspiration for your first book? Or,
yes.
And the second book, or just the first one?
I believe so. The second book, after I wrote the first, I realized it was a book that was helping us with personal development, with being the best that we can be individually. And then I thought, I'm listening to the news, seeing all, all the discord and all the divisions between us. And I'm like, okay, if we all become happy and peaceful personally, how are we then all going to come together to be able to live peacefully? And then I started thinking, okay, I have to address every form of human division. So that's how that second book came about.
Okay. And I saw somewhere online, 2014, that you received the prestigious Summit Award. So what's that?
Peach State.
Yeah, for Peach State Health Plan. And that was an award given to a healthcare provider who's provided, excellent clinical experience.
Yes. I was really humbled and excited. So when they called me and said I received that award that day, I was one of the only 3 in the whole state of Georgia that received that amongst the pediatricians. And I'm like, wow, what did I do? And they came and they told me. So I always strive for excellence in everything I do, because I feel that if I'm not doing my best, I'm not going to inspire other people. Because my life goal and my life mission is when I leave, finally when I'm 105, right? Because my plan is to live to 105. My grandma lived till she was 102, so I want to beat her by 3 years. So when I leave at 105, I want everything that I've done to be a legacy, from the way I went to school, how I studied, how I ran my practice, my books, how I touched people's lives. So I was doing well in the practice. There are parameters they use for medical practices, and I was just scoring high with all those. So that's how that award came to be.
This is really inspiring to me, because I feel, to live a life intentionally, saying I want to be excellent. I want, when I go, people look back and be like, yes, you did excellently well. It takes a lot of commitment, especially with what's going on around us. It's easy to start and stop. It's easy to cut corners. It's easy to not just bring your best, because, and there might be a good reason for not bringing up your best. So how do you stay committed to that pursuit of excellence in everything that you do?
Because I'm always looking at the outcome. So I look at 2 things. I'm always looking at, okay, this mission I'm embarking upon, what's the goal, what's the outcome I want? And I dream big, I don't dream about little things. So I'm like, okay, I wanted to do this, I wanted to impact all these people. So I think about the outcome, and then I commit myself to enjoying the journey. So because it's not going to come fast, there's some things that may not happen in 2 or 3 years. So if you're getting discouraged, so in the meantime, I just make sure I live a good life. I'm happy, I'm peaceful and content, and I enjoy every day as much as I can, even when things are not going well.
So you think about the outcome, but then you're also committed to enjoying the journey.
Enjoying the journey, that's very important, because people get discouraged, and I find that people just get apathetic, they get discouraged and unhappy when things are not going well. People set timelines for themselves unrealistically sometimes, and if it's not going well, then they just lose hope. But you can't do that. You have to wake up every morning saying, regardless of what this day brings, I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to enjoy it and make it the best that I can.
Wow, that's interesting. So, Permanent Happiness, your book. Can you just summarize? Because I know you must have had a lot of people say permanent happiness. Like, are you serious?
Are you serious? Is it possible?
Is that even possible?
There's been many skeptics. And they read my book and they're like, they message me, because people don't like to post on social media. I've noticed that some people post, but a lot of people send me private messages. They do. And then they're like, Iyabo, I was a kid. There was this one particular friend of mine that we went to secondary school together. She wrote me a message this long. And now she saw the title of the book and she's like, Iyabo, Permanent Happiness, you must be kidding. And then she read the book and she's like, I embarked on a few of the things you said, and I'm actually feeling already happier, more peaceful. So permanent happiness, in summary, is just, life is unpredictable. Things are going to happen that are not the way we expect them to happen. Loss of a loved one, illnesses, loss of a job, just different things. how am I going to prepare myself so that when those things happen, I can still stand on my 2 feet and still be able to give thanks? That's really what permanent happiness, because it's easy to be happy. Like now we're happy because we're sitting there and we're doing this, but you know, we don't know. We have to be prepared so that when it happens, what happens, we're like, okay, God, you know, it's fine, but I'm going to be able to push through this. It's going to be okay.
Okay, and then permanent happiness, the only way to find peace, joy, and your life-giving purpose. So life-giving purpose, what is your purpose?
My purpose is like to leave this earth a lot better than when I entered it and when I was living in it. So that's really my purpose. I want to make the world a better place while I'm here. And also when I'm gone, I want whatever it is that I'm doing now to still exist and make people's lives better.
And how would you advise a woman who is trying to find her purpose? You know, different things happen in the background and experiences and all that. So how do you?
So the first thing I would tell women is we're all born with gifts, all of us. And it's usually more than one gift. There's some people that are born with one major gift, but a lot of us are born with, you know, different gifts. The main thing is to find quiet time. I think as women sometimes we're always on the go, helter-skelter. We don't even have time to actually sit down and get to know ourselves. So you have to carve out time in the day to just be quiet, do some writing, listen to some nice soft music, just you, no kids, no husband, no partner around, and just really write down and ask yourself, what's my life purpose? What makes me tick? What difference would I want to make on this earth? Do I want to build a school, build an orphanage, go back to school? What do I really want to do? It will come to you. It's in there. We just have to ask ourselves and give ourselves that quiet space to be able to receive the answers.
You talked about finding your life purpose, about women being quiet, that we're always on the go, which is really true. Society has put us in that go, go, go. There's no one thing, it's the other thing. And also self-reflecting to be able to figure out exactly, okay, what have I been called to do? Now I want to talk about situational happiness, where maybe kids make us happy today, the next day we're sad, and things like that. How do you overcome that?
So when things happen, we're going to grieve. Like when I lost my sister 10 years ago, my dad in 2015, of course I grieved, I cried. You know, I missed them, I asked God questions that why, but then while I was doing that too, I remembered to also internalize and make sure that I was reflecting on my own life, that okay, I know that made me face my own mortality, that okay, I'm not going to be here forever, so while I'm here, I better make the best and make the most out of life, just like my dad did. He left a great legacy. He's left me behind, but then there's so many memories I have of him that are strengthening me up until today. I've written 2 books because of my dad. So those are the things we look at that, okay, death is inevitable. I know it's hard, it's a negative thing to talk about, but it's really true. Death is inevitable, so we have to make sure that no matter what it is we're going through, we quickly come back and reflect and say, okay, I'm not going to be here forever, let me make the best out of it.
And also identify what makes you happy. So it's not about, because I know a lot of people might be scared to feel happy because I don't want to get so happy because I know I'm going to be sad the next moment. How do you talk someone out of being afraid of happiness? Because some people are.
Yes, I'm generally an optimist by nature, so I think it's easy for me to say. I've always been optimistic even from when I was young, but I know not everybody is that way. But what I tell people when they're always scared and afraid of the outcome of things is that there's only 2 choices. It's either you're either going to do it and it fails, or you're going to do it and it succeeds. So you might as well just think on the bright side, on the positive side, that business is going to succeed. Because if you believe it's going to succeed, then you put in your best for it to succeed. That's what I tell people when they're scared, that just believe, okay, are you choosing a right business? First of all, be realistic. That's why in my book I call myself a realistic, optimistic, non-quitting dreamer. Because if you want to build a business that obviously you don't have the skill set for, then
you're setting yourself up
for failure. You go and get this big, humongous loan that you can't pay off. So you still have to get mentors and know what you're doing. But once you've gotten those 1 to 3 mentors and you kind of have an idea that you're doing something good, then put in your best and hope for the best, because it's either it fails or it succeeds. So why not just plan for it to succeed, like anything in life? If we're going through things with our kids, we're having tough times at work, well, just pray and plan that it's all going to work out well, and do everything within your power to make it work instead of worrying. Worrying is toxic. Worry is poison. It makes you sick. It causes illness in your body. It's one of the causes of all these chronic problems, and women worry a lot. A lot of women don't sleep well because they're so scared of bad outcomes. No, just wake up in the morning, dance in front of the mirror and say, my business is going to work out, clients are going to come to me today, my book is going to sell, I'm beautiful, I'm lovely. You know, say those affirmations. I do that in the morning. I wake up and I look in the mirror, I'm like, it's going to be a great day today, and I speak positive into my life so that as I step out the door, that's what I aspire to do. If you're positive and you put everything into being positive, then the outcome eventually will be positive. It's worked for me every single time.
Interesting. I believe there's a line in the book that says, when our lives are in balance, we discover we let go of the stress and worry that arise when life throws us curveballs. When our lives are in balance. So is this anything like work-life balance?
There is and there isn't. There's a quote I put on my social media that it's a process. So I think sometimes as women, we're talking mostly about women now, and it also applies to men. So men, please listen in.
Yes.
Women, yes. So everything I do and I say, and my life goal is to inspire everyone, not just women. So we never get to a state of balance, but we have to live and aspire every day for a process of balance. I have 3 steps in my book.
Okay.
That I feel are the easiest ways to find balance, and I'll share them with you. Obviously,
Well, get the
book, because these are just the 3 steps.
Yes.
There's still a lot more in the book.
Yeah.
So the first thing really, and I put biblical terms into that. I'm a Christian and I'm a proud Christian. I'm a Jesus follower, but that doesn't mean my book is for everyone. I have friends who are atheists. I have friends who are agnostics. I have friends who are Muslim. I'm accepting of everyone because I believe it's what we carry on the inside.
Right.
So I have a biblical term in there which applies to everyone, that we should live by the fruit of the Spirit, which means there's 9 of them. I won't name all of them. Love, joy, peace, forbearance, patience. So if you can write those on your wall, I have it in my journal and I look at it every morning. If you can write those in your book or on your wall somewhere and just strive to even just live by 1 or 2 of them, because they're all interconnected. There's no way you can be kind without having love in your heart.
Right.
There's no way you can be patient without loving people. They're all interconnected. So you can't say, once you pick one, the others are going to follow. They're going to tag along. So just look at all of them and just say, I'm going to be patient today. And then you'll see that you have love, you have self-control as well. Then the second thing is, we have to make sure that we're inspiring and doing great things for ourselves and for other people. We have to first influence. I say that you have to influence yourself first. If you don't influence yourself and make yourself the best person and appreciate and love yourself, there's no way you can love other people. People try to love others when they haven't even connected with themselves.
Right.
So you have to do that and then influence others, find a way to just touch people's lives. That's number 2. And then number 3 is a big one. We have to nourish our spiritual and physical lifelines. I believe we have those 2 lifelines. Our spirit is that inner peace we talked about, that just being content and connecting with that higher power, which for me is God. And then nourishing our physical lives. We have to take care of ourselves. We have to drink water.
It's amazing.
We have to exercise. We have to eat right. We have to journal. So maintaining that balance with our spirit and our physical is super important, because if you're not healthy, there's nothing else you can do.
And I want to talk about the physical part, about ways to let go of negative practices of people, because I believe that also it's a
big.
Yeah. So how do you let go of something that has been an anchor for so long?
It's tough. I've been through a divorce, so that was a big one for me. It's tough, but you just have to do it, because at times that's just, and it's not just your spouse, it could be a friend. Unfortunately, it could also be a close family member. But relationships are core to our lives. If I was the only one in this universe earth, there wouldn't be a universe. So the reason that we're all here is because relationships are core. So relationships can make us or break us. They can be, I'm glad I'm sitting here with you today. This is fantastic. Yes, it's positive, it's fantastic, it's good for both of us. But you also have to be careful of those influences out there that will bring you down.
Right.
So,
and we know what these influences are.
we know, but it's hard for us to let go. But you don't have to let go in a negative way. You can let go in a respectful way. You'll still love them from afar. So because you reduce the contact with someone doesn't mean you're going to pick up the phone and start gossiping about that person to someone else. No, you just know that, oh, this person isn't good for me right now. I'm going to try to step back and reduce the interaction, but I still wish them well. And maybe sometime in the future we'll come back and we'll be friends again, but right now, no. And if the person is wondering why you're distant, you can tell them. Just say that you don't feel this relationship is quite working out now as mature adults, and just say that I just feel we need some space, so that's why.
What about for things, habits that are negative?
Like addictions?
Like addictions or self-pity or just that fear or to say, afraid of being happy. How would you speak to a woman out there who is struggling with this such?
Yes.
To break out of it.
So that comes on different levels. As a doctor, I have to definitely say that if you're suffering from major depression, if you're having suicidal ideations, if you're just really, really feeling dejected, you should call your doctor. That's the first thing you should do. We should never forget that as we talk. So call your doctor. There's trained psychiatrists, licensed psychiatrists out there. Go and get checked and make sure they do a full evaluation and you're taken care of, because major depression is real.
Right.
But if we're talking about mild mood swings, mild depression here and there, just feeling apathetic, feeling sad, there's many ways. Books for me were my savior. They were. Because around my divorce, around my sister's passing, then my dad's passing, I withdrew a bit. I mean, a lot, I don't know. I spent a lot of time on my own because I didn't want to be around people. So I withdrew from physical people, but then I went into people in books. I read a lot of books. On my iPad at any point in time, I was reading 5 to 6 books, just going back and forth. And books literally changed my life. We don't do enough reading as women.
You can say that again.
Yes. Books, books, books. You will learn a lot from books. And then just a few people that you trust that you can share with also. Yes.
Yeah, books definitely would, kind of like take you to someone else's world.
Yes, and then and then you think about your problems, you're like, I don't even have any problems. This person has gone through this and they overcame it. Who am I to complain about this? So I read a lot of people's stories. And I also read many inspirational books that just kept me like, okay, you can go through this. Divorce is not the end of the world. You can be much better after this. Just be strong. So all those were things that helped me. Reading is if you don't want to share your problems with people, go to the library and look for books about what you're going through. Read them, journal, make points, read it 2, 3, 4 times. And you'll see how the strength will start to come out in you.
And there's an underlying, message that I'm getting from this interview we're having, which is really being self-reflective.
Yes.
Most of the time we are go, 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 but we don't take the time to really go back and think. And I think that's what books do for a lot of people.
Yes. We can do things on our outside,
but then to
we
go back
don't work on the inside because it's scary.
Yeah, we don't want to ask ourselves some questions.
Yes.
So we can be amazing to people, we can love other people.
Yes, we can go out and socialize, we can take care of our kids, we can drive them from one event to the other, but then we're scared of connecting with ourselves because that's where the truth lies, and we're trying to not connect with that truth, because if we do, then we know we may have to make major changes that we're not ready to make. So most women don't want to introspect.
Right.
Yeah, that's a big part. I've seen it in so many, young, old, middle age, I've seen it, but everybody gets to it at a certain point. But my hope is that people
get to it sooner
than later. Yes, that's always the prayer, because some people don't, and then they turn 85 and they're like, what did I do with my life?
Talking about, being reflective, the society has enough things to keep us go.
Yes.
But not for us to think about things and make changes within our life. And like I said, second line I mentioned was after the fruit of the spirit was being able to, you can't give what you don't have. I think that's why people burn out.
Yes.
easily.
Because they don't take care of themselves before they try to help the whole world.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that's kind of like a mantra for women.
Yeah. You cannot take care of the whole world before you take care of yourself. You cannot. It's tough. If you don't, it's tough enough taking care of kids and your spouse and your business and your physical body and everything else and friends. It's tough enough if you're not even balanced and strong yourself. You have to take care of this first.
Right.
From the inside out. I'm not talking about physically. It's nice to look good. But I'm talking about internally. You have to, because life is going to throw some hard stuff at you while you're trying to change the world.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, so you have to be centered, you have to be strong emotionally, spiritually, physically, to be able to encounter and manage all that hard
and
stuff.
all this is written in your book.
It's all in my book.
Yeah, all in.
Yeah, it's all in my book.
Permanent happiness. Yes, how to make sure that you are reflective and you're also getting ready to handle whatever the world throws
at you, because it's going to happen. Like I told you, I'm going to be 48 in April. Life has thrown some hard stuff at me, but I'm still sitting here. I'm still smiling. I'm still smiling. I've cried. I've laughed. I've done everything in between, but I'm still sitting here because life is good. If you make it good, it will be good.
All right, I want to talk about the third line. Talk about physical and spiritual, the lifelines. The spiritual part, how do you keep that part going? I know you say your faith is important to you as well, but that spiritual lifeline, how do you keep that going?
Many ways to keep that going. Quiet time is very important. I know it's easier said than done when you have little kids. When my kids were still young, that was tough for me. But I still tried. I would still read my Bible. I'll still tell them, you guys go, shut my door, still have some quiet time. So quiet time is important, to journal, to listen to music. Choose music that is uplifting, or choose music with no lyrics, that you just listen to a nice symphony or something. Journaling, taking a quiet walk, praying, of course, if you're so inclined. I believe prayer changes things. I think quiet time and solitude is number one. Out of all that, we just have to, it's tough, but you just have to find that time on your own. Not to worry, because women sometimes in their quiet time, all they do is sit there and they're thinking about it's going wrong, they're worrying. Okay, quiet time is not worry time. Quiet time is positivity time.
Right.
It's I can do this. Affirmation time. I'm writing down steps and all the things I want to achieve, and this is how I'm going to do them. I'll maybe give myself some vague timelines. I'll do this here, do this then. I'm going to start working out. I'm going to start praying more. So it's positive time. And you also write down your worries and say you're throwing them out the window. I'm not going to worry about all this anymore. So quiet time is very important.
How did you find your inner peace?
With all this.
With all this,
yes.
Right?
I found my inner peace really by choosing to just be loving, to be joyful, to be patient. I'm not always the most patient person. My kids probably know that, and my close family members. We all have our negatives. I'm not the most, I wasn't the most patient person. Now I am, because I've learned that you just have to let go and just let life flow. That's why I talk about flow a lot. And since I've been practicing flow and just letting it go, a lot more has been happening to me, coming to me. So I found that's why I'm sharing permanent happiness, because those 3 steps are steps that I practice. I nourish my spirit on a daily basis. I nourish my physical. I make sure everything I put in my body, most things, I still eat cake and ice cream once in a while. But I do I nourish the spirit and the physical. I take care of myself and ground myself spiritually and emotionally first, so that I can embark on all these things and influence other people. And then I try as much as possible to live by the Spirit. So when I'm standing in line at Starbucks and it's taking so long and I don't lose my time, like, okay, Iyabo, it's just a cup of coffee and a croissant. It's okay. It's all just okay. Just love, smile. It's all going to be okay.
Awesome. Have you ever been afraid?
Oh yes.
What have you been afraid of?
I have my fears. I have my fear of driving on the highway. It's in my book. And ever since I wrote it down and published it, I felt free. I used to hide before that, I'm taking taxis and Ubers everywhere. But I've had that fear for many years. I don't know where it came from. But I didn't let it pin me down. I just found alternative ways, and I'm like, okay, I can't drive on the highway, I can't drive on these big roads, it gives me anxiety. I'll just take a taxi or take an Uber. Now with Uber it's easy. So I have that fear, and since I shared it,
It's freed you up.
it's freed me.
So what's the best piece of advice that you have been given?
That I've been given?
Yeah.
Is my dad saying, read your books. Every Nigerian person out there knows that our parents tell us, sometimes they'll say read your book, as if it's just one book. But my dad would always tell me, read your book. Education is very important. And my dad was a soft-spoken, slow talker. Iyabo, education is very important. You must pass your exams, okay? You must do well in school. And that changed my life, because that resonates all through. It's like continuous.
Yeah.
And books literally have changed my life. Not just medically, not just academically in medicine, but also just in day-to-day life. Books are life-changing.
And even the book you've written as well is changing lives.
It's changing lives also. So it's like, well, somebody asked me in May when I first published my book. I was sitting down with a lady like this in my home, and she said, so what's your goal with the book? I said, you know what, if I can touch the lives of 5 women or 5 girls, I've done my job with the book. When the book was released, I think I touched the life of 5 women in like 2 days, because I was receiving messages already. So it's like, it's just amazing that just one book can change a life in other continents.
So, and I know you say you self-published.
Yes.
That's something I want to point to as well, because I know a lot of people might have books in their mind and want to write, but they feel like, how am I going to even get it out there? Who's going to buy it? How am I going to start? What pushed you to actually self-publish?
Self-publishing, indie publishing, like they call it now, it's so doable. That's the way to go now. I still dream of traditional publishing, like with my second book. That's still my hope and dream, that I find a traditional publisher. I hope I do. So if there's a publisher out there, if you're listening, I have a fantastic second book on human divisions. Anyway, but seriously, self-publishing is quite easy to do. You just have to put your team together. Make sure you go through several rounds of editing. So look online. If you need any tips on good editors, I have one who's amazing, so just let me know. But you have to edit your book and make it into a really good product, because if there's too many typos on there, it puts people off. So make sure you have a good product. But self-publishing is quite easy.
Go back 5 years from now, what would you have done differently?
5 years from now, what would I have done differently? That takes us back to like 2013.
She's very precise. Don't even think about it.
2013, nothing. I wouldn't have done anything differently. 2013, because that's when my life really started changing positively.
Okay.
So I was already learning how to introspect, to self-reflect at that time. I was reading a lot of books. So maybe for me the question would have been 10 years.
10 years from now,
what would I have done differently? This sounds really bad and negative, and I don't want it to seem like I'm telling people to get a divorce, because I'm very careful about that. Marriage is still I still hope to marry one day, to get married one day. So I still believe strongly in the institution. Of course you will, of course. So I still believe strongly in the institution of marriage, but I felt like my divorce was a little bit delayed. I really felt I should have gone out of it sooner than I did. But things happen for a reason, and it's fine, it's all good. But that's what I wish I would have done sooner, because I knew that the path we were both going on wasn't good, it was negative, but I tried, because I was one that was against divorce. I talked about, oh yes, I would make comments about women going through divorce, like, aren't they Christian? Can't they just try? Can't they just stick with it? And then when it happened to me, I'm like, wow, this isn't good. So that's what I would have done differently. But I still believe in marriage. I want to make sure I put that out there. Marriage is still a strong institution, and I'm still a big believer. But if it's not going well, and it's causing you negativity everywhere around, and it's just pulling you back, you have a lot to think about.
What book has inspired you?
Many books. There's not just one book. I've read so many books. I've read books by Steve Harvey, who's funny in his books, relationship books and all that. I've read books from the pastor of my church, Andy Stanley. He writes excellent books. So there's so many books. I've read Chimamanda's books. I love her books. I'm mostly a non-fiction reader. I like reading memoirs and biographies.
Okay.
I'm thinking of T.D. Jakes. I love his books also.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay. What plans do you have ahead of? Because I know that over the past year, I might be wrong, but you went to the UN and talking about your book as well. And then you have other projects ahead of you. Just give us a brief, recap of what you did at the UN.
Yes.
And projects you have ahead of you.
Yes. So the UN was a fantastic opportunity. I just met somebody who thought that my message would be well received at the UN. Spoke with a few people, and I was invited over, and I hosted my own private event at the UN. I mean, when you talk about dreams coming true, I'm like, yeah, but this is
not coming.
I know, I didn't, and I'm like, wow, God, you've done it again. How can I thank you? My heart is so full of gratitude. So I prepared myself, and I'm like, I was nervous, but I'm like, yeah, boy, you can do this. Just go there and talk about your book. It's not about you now. As soon as you step onto that stage, it's about people. So my book is about happiness and peace. So the UN has SDG goals, and everybody should know about the SDGs. I don't feel like they're publicized enough. So maybe you can put this on your website also for people to go and explore the 17 sustainable development goals. And I'm sure out of the 17, there's one or two that someone out there is passionate about, and you can get involved with it with the UN.
Okay.
So I looked through, there's a lot of them I'm really passionate about, but they invited me to talk about the number 16. Which is about peace and justice and strong institutions. So that was easy for me because that's the basis of everything. Yeah, relatable. So that was that. And then great news is I was invited back again. So I'm actually leaving to go to New York in less than 2 weeks.
Wow.
There's a youth conference. So they're really trying to get youth involved in the UN, which we know is key, right? Children and youth really have to be at the forefront of all these changes because they're tomorrow's leaders. Absolutely. So I was invited because I'm a pediatrician and all these other things of the piece. Everything falls in line. So they're like, oh, youth would be perfect. Would you like to come? I'm like, what do you mean I'll be there?
Just the fact that you're a pediatrician, you have a book, and then the UN opportunity, I'm sure you didn't see the UN opportunity coming up.
I did not.
And even the book, you said, even if you could just touch the lives of 5 women, you fulfilled the purpose of that book.
Yes.
I think that speaks a lot because most of the time we always think that life purpose is about going to the moon and catching some, something
doing something spectacular.
Yeah. But even the little that we have with our hands, just being committed to it, because you never know how the doors will open. So I wanted to just speak to that about how this journey has been for you and how it's unraveling.
This journey has been humbling to me. It's taught me a lot about life. It's taught me that we have to let go of all control. I've always been somebody who feels like I could plan and schedule every aspect of my life. I'm going to do this here and there. This is going to work out. But I've noticed that you just have to let go. You have to say, well, this is what my abilities are. I'm willing to put in my all into these abilities, but if there's another direction you'd like me to go, God, this is the way that my life is meant to go, then let it be. You have to be open. If I wasn't open that day I started writing, if I thought the voice that was telling me write, and I thought right, what am I writing about? It would have passed me by.
Right.
So the book led me to the UN. And I'm so excited for where the UN is going to lead me because I know it's going to be big things, and I know I'm going to be touching lives, not just in this continent, not just in North America or Africa where I'm from, but it's going to be all over the world.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's my dream. I've seen it, I've visualized it in my awake state. I've also seen it in my dreams. I dream a lot, and the dreams I have come true. They really are. Sometimes I'm sitting and I see a vision of something and it actually happens. I know the interview is, we don't have enough time to discuss all that. But I just feel it's with me just introspecting and having all those quiet times that gives me the ability to have those dreams that actually do come true. Because I feel so centered and so connected to myself spiritually in here and also up there.
We can talk about it.
Yes. So I've seen things before, and I know this is going to sound creepy to some people, but I'll give an example that doesn't sound like creepy. So my daughter, I think it was 2 years ago, it was the same year that I was writing, 2015 or 2016. Her older sister took her to basketball practice. and I was at a book conference. Actually, I was listening to a speaker at a book conference. It was in the afternoon, like 2 p.m. My phone was on my lap because, of course, my kids are, now with me. And all of a sudden, I had a flash with my eyes open that my daughter fell during basketball practice, and she was crying, and the whole game stopped.
Wow.
Yeah. Within, I'm telling you, a millisecond, a text popped up on my phone, and it was her friend's mom that texted me and said, Moni just had an injury at basketball practice. She sprained her ankle, it's swollen, but it's okay. I know you're at a book conference. I just wanted to let you know we're going to take care of her. And that flash came to me before the text came in. So I believe that happened to me because I was quiet during the conference. I was completely focused on what the speaker was saying. My thoughts were not going all over the place. I was centered and I was focused on that, and that's how that came to me. So that's just one example.
I think that's a different level, to be honest. And I think it comes, like you said earlier, about being centered.
Centered, and we can all tap into that.
Yes.
I believe we can. You just have to be centered, and you have to rid your mind of all negativity. So competition is one of them. Amongst us women, we have to be careful about doing that. It's very easy to see somebody on social media and not have positive thoughts about them, like what are they doing. I just want to put it out there, everybody, we need to search our hearts that there's no envy, jealousy in there, there's no worry, we don't have a competitive spirit, because all that hinders us and blocks us.
Not jealous, backbiting, and every other thing, because that can really survive with the fruits of the spirit. It
can survive. They're in conflict with each other. So if you're carrying that kind of negativity around about other people, it's going to be hard for you to receive all those spiritual messages and receive all the blessings that should come to you.
You know, when you wake up in the morning, what's your daily routine? Like a lot of people are going to give the excuse of time. They don't have time to.
Time is not the excuse. 24 hours is a long time. I keep saying that 24 hours is long. We sleep 8 hours. You first have to, the things you have to schedule first out of those 24 hours. It's not work, it's not kids, it's not husband, it's none of those. It's sleep, that I'm going to sleep 8 hours minimum. Then the second thing you're going to I'm already saying exercise. The second thing you're going to exercise is exercise. The second thing you're going to prioritize is exercise. So sleep is first, then exercise. Yes. Okay. So, and then obviously spiritual time is probably competing for that second position also. Okay. So my routine is, I try on the weekends, I do sometimes go out and stay out late. Not too late, I'm a homebody, I don't go out to the club and all that, but sometimes I go out and I come back a little late. But during the week, I try to go to bed early. Like last week, there was a day I went to bed at 8 p.m.
Wow.
So I go to bed early sometimes, anywhere between 8 to 10, depending on what my morning routine is or which exercise class I'm going to. I don't work out every day, but I aim for 4 days a week for exercise. I don't overstretch myself and then I can't do it. So for sometimes I only do 3 days, which is fine. Don't beat yourself up. If you can't do 4 days, 3 days is okay. So I go to bed, I make sure I sleep 8 hours. I wake up in the morning. Before I do anything, I lay there quietly, not thinking of anything. There's not many days I jump out of bed. There's not. I lay there first and I just breathe and I close my eyes. I'm not sleeping, but I give myself a few minutes to do that. And then I sit up in bed and I grab my Bible and my journal and I have a small devotional book. I read the devotional book. I have the 365-day Bible. So each day I read Psalms, has its own. So I read the one for that day. I journal. Journaling is not, people always ask me, what do you write? Write what comes to mind. Write, I'm going to the grocery store today and I want to shop for something and bake a cake. It's okay. It's not some big spiritual thing that you have to write. Sometimes I just write, I have to remember to call Rennie at college today and tell her I love her, or remember to send her a text to. It's simple things that it can be your to-do list, it can also be something deep. Right. So journaling is just find something that comes to your mind that day, positive, write it down, and then I pray, and after that I go and exercise, if I'm going to exercise. Otherwise, I come down and drink water. That's key. I drink 16 ounces of water every morning as the first thing that goes in my stomach. I don't put lemon or anything. Some people put lemon, I don't. I just drink room temperature water, 2 big cups, 16 ounces first.
Okay.
That's what I drink first.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then your day starts.
And then my day starts, and then I have breakfast. And
so to the woman that is doing it afraid, what would you tell her?
I would say that you already have everything you need to achieve everything you'd like to achieve. And I'll repeat that. You already have everything you need to achieve everything you desire to achieve. We're always thinking about, I'm not rich enough, I don't have enough money, I'm not skinny enough, I'm not curvy enough, I'm not dark enough, I'm not light enough. There's always an excuse.
Yeah.
But if you have a dream and you want to achieve something, all you need is you.
All you need is you.
All you need is you, because that inner strength is there. And then the internet is there.
Right.
Friends that are trustworthy are there. And I say trustworthy, be careful about discussing all your hopes and dreams with people that are going to
twat it.
Yeah, yes,
or
crush it.
choke it.
And say, what are you doing? Oh, do you know how many people told me I couldn't open a practice? What are you doing? Practices fail, they don't survive. So I just stopped talking to people. And I went to experts and people that had successful practices. So you can do everything. That dream you have, whatever it is, you want to build 10 schools in the world, you can do it. Start today. Go to the internet and say, how do I get funding to... You just have to start from somewhere, and you have to start taking the steps. And you have to believe in yourself. Surround yourself with people who believe in you and who wish the best for you. And if there's people close to you that disappoint you, that don't have the same dreams you have, it's okay. Don't get discouraged. Just move on.
Wow. Believe in yourself. You have all that you need to just make your dreams come to pass. And surround yourself with people that believe in you. I have had an amazing time with this interview. I'm telling you, I'm going to put all her social media handles where you can buy her book. If this is just this is not even the book that we just, like, we didn't even go by the book. We just talked about it, you know, just vaguely. So you can imagine how deep permanent happiness would be for you to get a copy. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Stella.
Doctor, for
thank you.
This amazing opportunity to come into your beautiful home to speak to you and to just feel, I feel lighter. I know it's a little weird, but I feel
it's nice to feel lighter.
I definitely feel lighter, and I've learned a lot about happiness, about peace, and about spirituality and physical and everything. So thank you so much once again. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
And to that woman who's watching this as well, I hope that you have realized that if she can, you can as well. So to the next episode of Spotlight series, just continue to live life intentionally.
Yes. Bye.